Perfect. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of MCD Live with the Mighty Champions. And today, this is Ayesha hosting today's session. And as evident from the title of our session today, you must know what we're talking about. We're talking about something a step further from the processing and expression of grief. We talked about grief, we talked about what grief is and how it's different from bereavement. Today, we will be talking about something a step further, which is trying to work on that, on the process of finding strength after an adversity has occurred, and we are trying to um, grow out of that phase and find strength because there is a difference between resilience and strength and actually um, growing in a deeper sense when you talk about it. So both of these concepts are different. So we'll be talking about growth today. And it's something that is extremely important to understand because we carry so much pressure in our lives, and we hear a lot of things in our daily life every time we go through something, such as be strong or everything happens for a reason. This is something we've all heard at one point of our lives. You're going to come out of it stronger. And to some extent, you can see they are very dismissive to us, especially when you are going through an adversity. And at that point, you do not see any hope. And to expect someone who is not going through that to tell you that you have to be strong, it's kind of dismissive at that point. But when you look at it through another perspective, especially once you are processing that part of the grief, um, you start to understand that it's important in order to bring that sense of calm in your body, in your life, to grow and to move forward, and to not make do not try to bring out reasons for why so and so thing happened. So, it's also understanding that something unfortunate may happen in your life. Pain may occur, but at the same time, um, you can grow as well. And it's also certainly not expecting people to become stronger because something terrible happened to them. It's something that once something has happened, uh, it's very important to remain functional. And in no way is it, trying to shed a positive light on trauma. Traumatic events are unfortunate and adversities are unfortunate. But if you move forward and if you want to remain functional, it's very important to discover your strengths and look out for new perspectives and new ways of living that you did not know about before. So growth is definitely possible. You don't have to lose hope in a situation like that. And we have to understand that when something happens, um, we do have the abilities to create a condition that can support growth. Um, and in the process of that, we don't have to put any sort of pressure on ourselves. So today the session is about that. And in order to understand all of this, we need to take a moment to briefly bring our mind to the present and to bring our focus in this session and to understand what we are about to learn today. So I want to start off with a question first, and then we will move forward and try to focus on what and how these things happen, how growth actually eventually happens. I want you to think about one person in your life. It could be your partner, it could be some relative, a family friend, teacher, even a public figure. absolutely anybody who you admire, um, for being strong, for their story, someone you admire for their story, and just think a moment. You don't have to answer this to me. Just think about it before we move forward towards mindfulness. I just want you to keep that person in your mind. And now we are going to ground ourselves a bit so we can actually concentrate on that person and what that person has that makes us admire them. So I want you all to sit comfortably and allow your feet to touch the ground and rest on the floor. I want you to just lean back and relax your shoulders and bring them down if you feel like they're really, when we are in stress, our shoulders, they become really rigid and they become, like this. So we have to calm ourselves down by relaxing our shoulders, and we just have to sit comfortably and try to ensure that there is no noise, there's no disturbing sound around you that may affect your concentration. And if if comfortable, please try to close your eyes for a while. If not, then it's perfectly fine. You don't have to uh, push yourself for it if it doesn't feel comfortable. Just try to keep your eyes closed if possible and take one slow breath through your nose. Hold it in for a second and breathe out from your mouth. Breathe in from your nose and breathe out from your mouth. Again, breathe in from your nose and breathe out from your mouth. Don't think about the past. Don't think about the future, and just focus on that one person who you admire, as we, as I asked you to think about a moment ago, and just focus on that person. Notice how they deal with the difficulties in their lives. What is it about their story that makes you admire them? That makes you really, really want to be like them. And now I want you to notice your breathing. Just notice your breathing while you're thinking about it. Try to come back to your breathing. And don't try to alter your breathing pattern. Just focus on how you're breathing. And try to notice your posture, the way you're sitting or lying down. Notice the sounds around you and what sounds are they? And ask yourself, what is it about this person and their story that makes you admire them? And now I want you to ask yourselves about what strength in the course of all these years of my life, what strengths have helped me reach this moment in my life? What is it about me? What is that strength about me, about my character that has helped me deal with adversities in my life? Don't have to think about what you have achieved at the end of your adversities. You don't have to think about anything. Just focus on that one strength that you think has made you capable of dealing with a certain difficulty or adversity in your life. It could be a quality, it could be patience, it could be you being very determined. It could be faith. It could be humor. People use humor to get through difficult times. And maybe it is your ability to ask for help. It's never wrong to ask for help. In fact, it's very encouraged. If you feel like you need help, you should definitely ask for it. It takes immense strength to ask for help. And now I want you to take one last breath, one final breath. Inhale through your nose and exhale from your mouth. And try to stay here for a moment before we move forward to the discussion. All right. We talked about grief, that whenever we think about grief, people usually think about death and major life events, major traumatic events. But again, we discussed what types of events could actually be considered. Um, it could result to grief or grieving, adversities. It all exists on a spectrum. It could be absolutely any sort of loss, hardship, discrimination, your childhood events or experiences that weren't really good. And we also talked about how two different people experience and express the same experience and same kind of grief very differently, right? Because adversity is influenced by a lot of things, including our experiences, support system, personal meanings, everything that we initially discussed yesterday. So these are all the things that do affect and impact your, you can say, how you're going to express, how you're going to process grief. Now, the session today is about resilience or post-traumatic growth. Because, as I said initially, they are not both the same. Resilience and post-traumatic growth is not the same. They are confused very often as being the same concepts, but resilience is more like your ability to recover or maintain functioning despite the existence of a particular adversity in your life. Now, how do you define resilience through the help of an example? Let's talk about a tree that just bends during a storm, right? A tree bends during a storm, but it is still rooted. It's not separated from its roots. It's rooted, it's standing where it is, but it's just bending down because there was a storm. It's tired, it's exhausted, it's bent, but it is still attached to its roots. It's still rooted. Now, how would you define that? That's resilience. That's the ability to remain resilient, right? Now, if the same tree, after that storm has passed, it returns back to what it was before, right? And even better, it develops stronger roots and it grows in a new direction. Now, what is that? That is something we call post-traumatic growth. All right. This is the difference between resilience. Resilience helps you remain functional, alive, survive an adversity. Post-traumatic growth is growing after an adversity has passed, right? And it is when the experience changes us in ways that eventually lead to new perspectives and better relationships or um, better personal development, right? Yesterday, we talked about how grief and adversities actually impact the parts of our brain. We talked about amygdala, how the amygdala gets over efficient when we experience stress because it senses danger. Its job is to sense danger, and so it becomes reactive. Then, after a long time of adversity, our amygdala remains very, very alert. And it makes us more sensitive to stress, right? And over time, people start struggling to concentrate as well. And it stops us from thinking clearly because adversity affects our prefrontal cortex as well, which is responsible for regulating our emotions, thoughtful decision making, right? So, high levels of stress actually contribute to a lot of neurobiological changes, because we talked about how cortisol also rises. It's a stress hormone, and consistent, prolonged stress can actually um, temporarily affect our our neurotransmitters and hormones as well, right? So the good part about all of this is because we view these things through the lens of neuroscience, and neuroscience tells us that none of these changes remain permanent. The good news about all of this is that none of these changes remain permanent. We've talked so much about neuroplasticity, and again, this is exactly where it plays its role. You do not remain in that state because of neuroplasticity. When you learn about healthier coping skills, you practice mindfulness, you build supportive relationships, and you challenge those unhelpful thinking patterns that are a result of, you say that are a result of that adversity. Or even if things get immensely painful, you go out for therapy, and if you do all of these things, they actually do help you in strengthening those new neural pathways that were initially disturbed by the adversity. So when you cannot expect post-traumatic growth if you are sitting static, if you're not making any effort. It requires immense amount of effort to actually be able to get out of that zone. Now, there are some researchers who have worked on this concept of post-traumatic growth. Um, and they said that there are five different areas in which growth actually appears. Or you can, in simple words, you can say five areas which some may utilize one or all or absolutely none in order to develop that post-traumatic growth. And the first one is appreciation for life, much greater appreciation for life. Many people they start noticing and valuing the ordinary moments in their lives once they have been through something like this. The ordinary things that they did not look at before, right? The small moments. Many people start looking at that and appreciating them. Greater appreciation, the first area. The second area is stronger relationships. Sometimes when you are going through a tough, event in your life, um, difficult moments and difficult experience like those sometimes deepen your empathy. It makes you feel for other people. It makes you feel the perspectives of other people, right? And makes you open to new experiences, which actually contributes to better and meaningful relationships, meaningful connections. So the second area is stronger relationships. If an adversity is making you feel more empathetic, you can utilize that to become more connected to people. Some people do that, but people build a better network once they have been through something adverse in their lives, right? Then the third is recognizing your strengths, your personal strengths. Many people, they actually realize that they're capable of coping with far more than they actually believed. For someone for whom even a flu looks like such a big thing, if they go through a major surgery and they didn't this in a surgery that they never imagined going through or experiencing, once they're actually out of it, they'll look at how they have survived something like that. Then they were scared of surgeries, and once they've gone through it, it will be a new experience for them, and they will start believing that I can do much better than I initially thought. And maybe my fears were just not real. My fears did not challenge me. So in a way, it actually helps you recognize your personal growths. So it helps you recognize that you are capable of coping with a lot of difficult things than you imagined you were able to. Then, the fourth area is discovering new possibilities. What do we mean about this? This is the one that many people who do come for even therapy or who are starting to change their lives, This is the one that they look towards the most, discovering new opportunities. People start changing careers. They start to pursue further education. Someone with a bachelor's may go for a master's, and that helps them um, look towards growing. That is a part of growth through their career. Someone may start volunteering for their community, or they begin projects that actually align more closely with what they've been through. They can become a source of support for other people around them. Some people start traveling. They discover they have always wanted to travel once they've been through something like this, and initially they were just very limited in their experience, and they discover that traveling does help them out, right? So discovering possibilities, new possibilities. And the fifth one is spiritual or existential growth. um a lot of people, when an adversity falls, they do develop a deeper connection with their faith or whatever that they believe in, because it helps them feel seen. They take out a meaning out of what they've been through, and it helps them connect stronger with their faith. And for many people, it encourages them to find a purpose about an event, or find a purpose about their entire lives. What is the purpose of their lives? What is the meaning of their lives? And what are their values? And basically, this entire event in their life that many may think that has tore them apart and that has broken them. So many people, they find healing, they find growth. Not, I won't use the word healing, I would use the word growth. They find growth through spirituality, through their faiths. And out of all these five areas that we discussed, um, there are people who may utilize every area, and there may be some who utilize one. Some may be developing further and further through the help of spirituality. Some may be developing further and further through the help of their career, but by doing things that actually mean to them. And some may actually not experience any of them, right? It's truly a matter of individual differences, and you don't have to mark this checklist in order to, ensure that you're growing. It could be anything else in your life apart from this. And if you know anything apart from all these things that we've discussed, you can definitely share it in the chat box. So, what helps the growth process start and happen? It happens when we actually allow ourselves to acknowledge that we do have difficult emotions, they exist, we have been through something, and we don't have to avoid it. We don't have to suppress it or forget it. We don't have to put forgetfulness or forgetting as a condition to become better, to grow out of things. Supportive relationships and social support are another way you can actually move forward towards growth, and they actually help you a lot. When you have a friend you can rely on, when you have a family member you can rely on, it's one of the greatest opportunities you have in order to grow. Then self-compassion. Before you think that anybody else is going to come and love you and save you, very important that you start loving your own self. Start taking care of your own self. Build up a routine around you, around the day, about when you're going to wake up, when you're sleeping. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting enough nutrients to support your physical and mental well-being? These small things are how you practice self-compassion. Just having a movie night in a week all by yourself. You don't need to have a big social circle in order to feel good for yourself. You don't need to have hundreds of friends to love yourself. Sometimes all you need is you to acknowledge and appreciate who you are and how you have dealt with the adversities in your life. Sometimes all you need is that. You don't need to tell 10 people, you don't need 10 people to come to your place and tell you how strong you have been. You can tell yourself that. You can appreciate yourself that. Cook your favorite meal. Take care of yourself. Go for workouts. Practice mindfulness in the morning, at night before sleeping. Free your body of all those negative emotions that you have been carrying. Grief can definitely like help you grow, help you become better. You don't have to remain stuck in that place. And there is absolutely no shame in seeking professional help as well whenever there's one needed. And work on your personal development. Create a personal development or personal growth plan and reconnect with those activities that are aligning with your values. And what is something that actually helps you become more relaxed? What is that one activity? Could it be just walking in the nearby park or the walking track, or it's or you want to learn something new? People learn new skills, people learn new sports or activities, absolutely anything that helps you feel like you have space or the space that you need in order to grow. So I want you all to develop a personal growth plan, a growth plan in which you list down all the things that you think can help you grow. It could include all those five areas that we discussed, or it may or may not include those, or something new that you may have in your mind, or something that helped you in the past, or something that may have helped the person that you admire deal with their difficulties, and you want to incorporate that strength in your life as well. So I want you to think about that and make a personal growth plan for yourselves, and try to work on that, and that may definitely help you in growing rather than just staying resilient, because growth is a step further from resilience, and we have to work towards growth. And we don't have to measure our strength, because at the beginning I told you how people tell us to be strong, but we don't have to measure our strength by how much we struggle or how much we face. It's just how we make our adversity worthwhile, and we grow out of that phase. And we don't have to erase your pain, you don't have to rush the process. Give your grief its due time. Let things happen and let things flow as they are flowing. Let things be. And once you are able to process and express them in a healthy way, work towards your growth. Don't stay static. Don't stay stuck in there forever. We don't have to let small events of your life stop you and define you for the rest of your lives. You don't have to do that. All of us human beings, we all have an extraordinary ability to learn. We all have that. Our bodies are adaptable. Our brain is rebuildable. For human beings, rebuilding happens more quickly, very much quickly. And for some people, it takes years, of course. Some people may say it's been years I haven't been able to feel better. But sometimes when you decide, when you make a plan, it can happen um so quickly that we don't even realize that it's happening. So just be patient with yourself. Don't measure your strength with the amount of time you spend on something. And you don't have to compete with anyone, as we discussed before. Grief and processing of grief is different for everyone, and we don't have to judge ourselves for that. And I would definitely like to see read and know about your insights now. So this is it for now. Please share insights if you have any. So I would definitely want all of you to work on your personal growth plan, because it's very important that oh, okay. The first three, yes. One is appreciating things that you never appreciated before. The small moments in your life, the things that you didn't initially looked at, right? So you focus on those things. That is the first area. Appreciating the little moments in your lives. The second is building stronger relationships. Once you have been through something traumatic, it helps you understand other people and their perspectives much better. You develop empathy for their pain, and you try to understand people much better because you have yourself been through something like that, and that helps you connect much better with people. Hence, stronger relationships. Then you have to recognize your personal strength. We don't realize what we are capable of dealing with once we actually go through something we never imagined going through. I gave an example of someone who gets annoyed by a flu or a sore throat, and surgery is a big no for them. Even hearing the word surgery is very scary for them. And imagine them having to go through an unavoidable surgery. And once they are out of it, just imagine it may be traumatic for them, but it may leave them with an idea that they can definitely survive something as scary as that, something that they imagine not going through. This is an example that I'm taking from my own life. I never imagined having to go through a very serious surgery, but and I was very afraid of GA, general anesthesia. But imagine I had no idea I was going to experience it, and once I did, I was at this point of my life, I feel like I had no idea I could actually deal with that so bravely. And this is the same case in every other situation in your life. You may feel like you are falling apart, and you may fall apart if you go through this. And just looking at someone else going through something like this, you may just think about how are they dealing with it? How are they dealing with this loss? But once you go through it, you do realize that you did have the ability, you're just not aware of it. So you recognize your personal strength. This is the third one. And then the fourth that we talked about was discovering new possibilities, career-wise, and volunteering for your community, traveling. These are all a part of those personal strengths that you can actually, sorry, those areas or aspects of life where you can actually experience growth or develop that growth process. And self-care is not selfish. We need to put the oxygen mask on first, then we can help others too. Yes, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot. It's very important. Sometimes people feel very guilty for giving themselves that time. As you can just go out and spend on yourselves. A lot of people, they spend on everyone around them. They don't spend on themselves. And they feel like they don't need it and they don't deserve it. A lot of people, they feel like they don't deserve it. They don't spend on themselves. They feel guilty for spending on themselves. This is a reality. A lot of people, they feel guilty for spending on themselves, and they put others' needs before their own needs. But that's exhausting. Eventually, you're going to be burned out. You might not realize, but you are going to feel burned out. So it's very important that you practice self-compassion. Love yourself. Spend at least one day out from the week on your own self. Regardless of what happens, make sure that you're sleeping on time. Actually giving your body its due amount of rest, and you are eating the right amount of food, the right type of food. You are not harming your body with junk food, and you are taking care of yourself in the best way that you possibly can. So we are done for today. If any of you has anything to share, you can share it in the chat box. If not, we can call it a day. Thank you, Alexandra. All right. Thank you everyone for joining in today. I will see you all tomorrow at the same time using the same link. with, of course, something definitely need to discuss. Thank you, everybody. See you all. Bye bye. Have a great day ahead.